Simply praising a child can actually do more harm than good. To build self esteem in a child and turn him or her into a confident and productive adult, there are various things we grown ups can do. However, sometimes adults do quite the opposite of what they are supposed to do. Whether you are a parent, teacher, mentor, or sports coach, you can say or do subtle or explicit things to help build a kid's positive self image. Children with self esteem feel liked and appreciated. They feel accepted, confident, proud of what they can do. They think good things about themselves and, most importantly, believe in themselves. In contrast, children with low self esteem are self critical and hard on themselves, feel they're not as good as other kids, think of the times they failed rather than when they succeeded, lack confidence and doubt they can do things well. In today's show, we reveal 10 things adults do unintentionally that crush a child's self esteem for good. We talk here about little things, overlooked behaviors, benign words said here and there, long forgotten trivial jokes that the targeted child has never put into oblivion. Things we consider harmless, but that are very harmful to children. Remember that as grown ups, a positive sense of self is one of the greatest gifts we can give a child, whether he or she is our own or not. Through the 10 scenarios indicated in this program, we aim to provide viewers and listeners with simple ways to boost a child's self esteem and to know the do's and don'ts for raising a confident kid. Stay tuned. Welcome, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. I hope you are doing fantastic because I am doing marvelous. I'm doing great. And if you are doing marvelous as I am, please go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. Today we want to talk about 10 things that adults do unintentionally that crush a child's self-esteem for good. Before we even kick things up, please, we want to give a shout out to our millions of viewers and listeners in the whole world. Very responsible parents. We want to thank you specifically. Hayden Perry in LaGrange, that is in Wyoming. Jade White in Wilson, that is in the beautiful state of Wyoming. And Gabrielle Bennett in Rainier in the beautiful state of Wyoming. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Now, I want to say a few things that you can tell your kid and make your kid be very, very, very successful and make your kid be very, very confident. Now, the number one thing that adults do unintentionally that it's bad for a child's self-esteem is not assigning age-appropriate household chores, right? You really want to give your children the responsibility for tasks such as setting the table, folding laundry, walking the dog. Those are age-appropriate household chores. By doing this will increase their feelings of competency and it will boost the problem-solving skills. This is very important. Don't try to protect your kid and not allowing them to help. Let them help around the house. This is very important. And when they are having a little problem, you can say something like this. You've got this, right? You've got this. You know that they have the skills and means necessary, and your vote of confidence will give them extra boost they need to succeed. All right? So in building self-esteem, children also need opportunities to demonstrate really their competence and feel that their contribution is valuable, right? If you never give them the opportunity to showcase to you what they're capable of doing, this could crush their ego. So that means at home, for instance, that means asking them, even when they're toddlers, to help with cooking, setting the table, making beds. This really, really reinforces the child's self-image, a positive self-image, all right? Now, this number 2, comparing children among themselves. This is a big no-no, right? This is a big no-no, especially when you have a large family. You have many children, 6, 7, 8 large families. Comparing children creates a sense of jealousy or envy from the get-go, and you don't want to get there because every child is unique, right? Appreciate each child's individuality and special gifts. Every child has special skills, and every child is a gift from the universe. Appreciate him or her based on his or her abilities, right? Never compare children among themselves. One thing you also want to do here is you want to ban harsh criticism. If you want to build your child's self-esteem, ban harsh criticism. The message is that kids hear about themselves from others easily translate into how they feel about themselves, right? So things like, harsh words, you are so lazy, you are so ugly. Those are very harmful and not motivating at all. So when children hear negative messages about themselves, it hurts their self-esteem, right? What you want to do here is that you want to correct your children with patience. Focus on what you want them to do next time, right? And when needed, when necessary, show them how. One of the things you can say here is that you can tell your kids, you can do hard things, right? When the going gets tough, the obstacles can seem insurmountable, right? But by telling your child, listen, directly, you are telling them exactly what they need to hear. And you are acknowledging that this is hard work and that they are capable, right? So instead of telling your child, you are so lazy, say, no, you can do this. I got you. You've got this. You can get it done, right? This is the kind of stuff that motivates and boosts your children's self-esteem. We'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. I'm still here talking about a very, very important development, a very important element when it comes to raising children. And there are things that we adults unintentionally do that crush a child's self-esteem for good, whether the child is ours, is our own, or somebody else's. Again, we want to watch our words. We want to watch things we do around body language, communication. All these things sink in. All this stuff sinks in. All right. Before I talk about number 3. So number one was very simple, not assigning age-appropriate household chores. Number 2, comparing children among themselves. Number 3, but before I talk about number 3, please allow me to acknowledge Jacob Williamson in Axonia, Wisconsin, Emily Dixon in Lakewood, Wisconsin, and Bradley Wright, Summit Corners. Oh, Bradley. Thank you, Bradley, for your great message. We really appreciate it. Summit Corners, Wisconsin. Thank you so much. Thank you to our millions of viewers throughout the whole world, in the United States, Canada. We appreciate the support. We appreciate the continuing patronage, and thank you for supporting. If you are just listening to us right now, please consider subscribing to our channel. We give practical advice every single day to our viewers, whether it is in business, in life, in relationship, in sports and entertainment, whatever it is, we get you covered. Please like this content right now, share it, and comment below. Give us your experience as a parent. If you have some souvenirs, some memories, some stories to tell us about how you were raised, or if you are a parent yourself, how you raise your children, please share your experience, your opinions in the comment section. All right, let's move on. Number 3, belittling in a joking or matter-of-factly way. So belittling children in a joking or matter-of-factly way. This is a biggie, right? Don't call children names or use sarcasm to make a point, right? Never belittle your child's feelings. If you get angry, take a short break, right? Just get out of the house so you don't say anything you'll regret. And keep in mind, you can dislike a child's action without disliking the child itself, himself or herself, right? So be sure to illustrate the difference to your child. This is very important. So if you're mad, if you're having a problem, if you're not comfortable with this, use words like, I believe in you. Because as a parent, you have faith in your child's ability, right? When you openly communicate that faith in him or her, it will inspire it within himself or herself. So, never say anything in moments of anger. As a matter of fact, I'm just quickly want to give a quick, I want to open a short parenthesis here that we've done a great show about how to manage your anger. We've talked to specialists from the New York Police Department, and they've given us great tips on how to manage anger. And you might want to check that show. It's fantastic. How to manage anger according to NYPD experts. Now, coming back to doing everything not to how to raise a child in a great way. Let your child take risks. Of course, here we are talking about healthy risk, right? You want to start by forcing yourself to stand back while the child is taking the healthy risk, right? Because the thing is that to build confidence in this world, children have to take chances, and they have to make choices and take responsibility for those choices. It's very important, right? Don't try to rescue your child from failure all the time, because rather than trying to save your daughter or son before he or she has the chance to try, let her do the stuff. Don't, so rather than trying to save her or him, allow things to happen, right? And again, it has to be a calculated risk, a healthy risk, right? Because the thing here is that you are allowing your children to learn from life, to take life lessons. If you constantly shield them, if you constantly shelter them, you'll never allow them to experience things on themselves, right? So that's number 3. Belittling kids in a joking or matter-of-factly way. Number 4, not spending one-on-one time with children. This is another biggie. It's important, folks, to spend one-on-one time with your child. Whether it is grabbing a bite to eat or taking a bike ride or going to a sports event, try to schedule some time alone with your child at least once a week. Now, this is very important, especially if you have many children. If you have a large family, you need to do this, because children in large families, some children feel like ignored and they feel lost, literally, right? So there was a few years ago great work done by an MIT psychologist or pediatrician. I don't recall the exact occupation here, but it was about how children. The research was about how children feel after if the number of children in the family exceeds 4. So after 4, 5, 6, or 7, after 4 principally, the children in the family, at least 1 or 2 feel isolated and ignored, right? So you want to pay attention to your child. You want to spend time alone at least once a week. This is a great opportunity to talk about what's on his mind or her mind and to cement the bond. You want to strengthen the connection the two of you share, right? You also want to, while spending one-on-one time with your children, one thing you want to do here is that you just want to listen. You want to be a great listener. And while listening to him or her, you want to encourage him or her to pursue interest fully here, right? Because this is a way to boost your child's confidence, to encourage her or him to basically, try new things, right? And make sure that they follow through to completion here. It doesn't really matter what the task is. It could be anything from playing video games to starting a piano lesson. It doesn't really matter. What matters is the start. The point is for them to stick with what they start, so they feel that hit of accomplishment ultimately, right? This is very important. And when they get that accomplishment, you want to say things like, wow, that was brave, right? Because sometimes we need to notice things aloud, right? That means you want to let the child know that you see him or her as a brave person, right? So when we grown-ups notice our kids being brave, they start to notice it too. So again, the problem here is that you have to kick off a process. You have to start a process, and the process is to spend time alone to get to know your child better. All right. I will be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. We are doing fantastic. I hope you are doing wonderful. I hope that you are liking this content so far, because I am liking it. This is a great info. We need to share this info with a lot of people. People need to hear this more. And I just want to quickly say that what is the basis of today's conversation? We need to talk about that. Now, simply praising a child can actually do more harm than good. To build self-esteem in a child and turn him or her into a confident and productive adult, there are various things we grown-ups can do. However, sometimes adults do quite the opposite of what they are supposed to do. Whether you're a parent, teacher, mentor, or sports coach, you can say or do subtle things, or explicit things for that matter, to help build a kid's positive self-image. Children with self-esteem feel liked and accepted, confident, proud of what they can do, think good things about themselves, and most importantly, believe in themselves. In contrast, children with low self-esteem are self-critical and hard on themselves, feel they're not as good as other kids, think of the times they fail rather than when they succeed, lack confidence, and doubt they can do things well. In this show, we are trying to reveal to you, actually we are revealing to you 10 things adults do unintentionally that crush a child's self-esteem for good. We talk here about little things, right? Overlooked behaviors, benign words said here and there, long forgotten trivial jokes that the targeted child has never put into oblivion. Things we consider harmless, but that are very harmful to children. Remember that as grown-ups, a positive sense of self is one of the greatest gifts we can give a child, whether he or she is our own or not. Through the 10 scenarios indicated in this program, we aim to provide viewers and listeners with simple ways to boost a child's self-esteem and to know the do's and don'ts for raising a confident child. Stay tuned. Now let's move on to number 6, number 7, number 8? No, we are going to number 5 here, right? Number 5, yes. Before we do that, I want to quickly give a shout out to Gabrielle Hayes in Rossmore, West Virginia, Alicia Hughes in Matthias, West Virginia, and John Powell in Humbleton, West Virginia. All right, now the number 5 thing that we do, the number 5 thing that we do as adults that may crush a child's self-esteem for good is complimenting the child excessively. Now this is another biggie. Right now, it's very important to compliment your child, right? So you want to say things like you are capable, because as a parent, our words become the internal language in the minds of our children, right? So we know as parents that our kids are capable of so much. So we want to let our words match this belief, right? So don't say things like you're going to hurt yourself, don't fall, because our tone and language should communicate confidence. Having said that, don't gush or offer insincere praise. Because you remember, everybody started thinking that kids are kids, so they are not smart. No, they are very smart. And children are very good. They are adept at detecting insincere praise or baseless compliments, right? Praise your child off, as I just said, but be specific in your compliments so your words will not ring hollow, right? For instance, instead of if your child has a drawing, instead of saying, "Oh, that's wonderful, you are the number 1 artist in the world," try something different, right? You can say, I think I love the overall painting here. Why did you draw the nose this way? Why did you draw the ear this way? Why did you put these details here? What does it mean to you? So the child knows that this is relevant. This is not just something that's not just fluff, right? Don't overpraise. So the thing is that praise that doesn't feel earned doesn't ring true, right? So for instance, let's say that your daughter had a crappy performance because she was not in the mood. She had a crappy piano performance, for instance, right? And she herself knows that she did not do very well. So don't tell her, listen, you did fantastic, because she knows she did it. She knows that, right? So instead of saying that, you can say something like, you know what? I'm proud of you for not giving up. I'm proud of you for showing up today, even though I know you didn't feel well, you were not inspired, right? But tomorrow, I'm sure that you will have your best performance. So at least you are offering some kind of balanced feedback, right? You acknowledge the reality that today was not a good day, that she did not have a good performance, a stellar performance, right? But then tomorrow is another day, that tomorrow she can get another chance to perform, right? So this is the kind of balanced feedback we want to give our children. Number 6, pushing the child to seek perfection. This is another big no-no. Don't let him or her know that no one is perfect, right? And tell your child no one expects him or her to be perfect, right? Because the way you react to your kid's mistake and disappointments the way you do this will color the way he or she reacts, right? Because again, remember, children believe the parents are gods, right? Children believe that their parents are basically the representative of God. So everything they say is true. Of course, once they go through a certain phase and a certain age, they realize that that's just BS, right? Sometimes BS. But my point here is that the way you react to your child's blunders and mistakes and disappointments colors the way they react. So praise efforts, right? So don't focus only on results. Focus only on efforts. It's very important, So if a child does not hit a certain goal, it's okay, because the results may not be there, but the effort is there, and it's very important. And also sometimes try to always offer help. You can say something like, let's try this together, right? Because sometimes everybody needs a helping hand. So the kids need a helping hand, and by seeing their parents helping them at something, that boosts their self-confidence like crazy, right? So you want to be in a position where you are there for your children physically. You are offering the help that they need. All right? I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. I'm just still here talking about a wonderful topic. We want to avoid a few unintentional ways that we crush our children's self-esteem for good. And today I'm just giving you the top 10. The top 10, and I was giving you 6 already. Now I'm moving now to number 7. Before I do that, please, if you have been listening for us in the last 20 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and you appreciate the quality of the content, please consider subscribing to this channel. We need to grow the Sweetie Kiwi community, and turn on the notification bell so you are informed whenever we drop a new show. We do so on a regular basis every single day, rain or shine. Please consider liking this content. Also, comment below. Give us your experience, your knowledge about child rearing. Give us your insight into raising children and how to boost a child's self-confidence, self-esteem. This is kind of good stuff that parents need to know more about. Not just parents, but society as a whole needs to be more attentive, more careful, more cautious about how they behave around children, because they are so vulnerable, right? We want to have productive and positive adults, and this starts from the get-go. It starts in childhood, right? So please share this content right now. If you know someone who's making mistakes, share this content with them right now and allow them to correct themselves. All right. And also, please watch the ads that we serve throughout our shows. This show is ad supported. We need the resources to expand the production team, hire more people, upgrade our equipment, travel to sites for interviews and investigations, doing some quality reporting. And again, the ultimate goal here is to provide you with quality free content. All right. Now, we want to give a shout out to Toby Ross in Prairie Ridge. This is Washington State. Evelyn Foster in Edison. This is Washington State. And Jackson Saunders in Packwood, Washington State. Number 7, doing everything for the child. This is another big no-no. Don't do everything for your child. Be patient and let him or her work things out for himself or herself, right? So the thing is that, for example, you might think it's faster or easier to dress your preschooler, but sometimes it just makes sense to let him or her do things by him or herself, so that the child can learn new skills, right? Because the more the child meets new challenges, the more competent and confident he or she will feel. So you have to position yourself in your child's shoes, not from your point of view, but from your child's point of view, right? So help your child learn to do things. At every age, there are new things that children can learn, right? Even, and experts have said that, even during babyhood, right? Learning to hold a cup or take first steps sparks a sense of mastery and delight. So as your kid grows, things that learning to dress, ride a bike, read are chances for self-esteem to grow. And this is critical here, right? And one thing you want to keep saying to your child is, listen, no matter what happens, I love you. So for instance, if the child is learning something and sometimes he or she might be discouraged, right? But be there and say, listen, no matter what happens, I love you. Because our children need to hear words that communicate unconditional love, right? That means providing reassurance of your love regardless of the outcome, right? No matter how many times, how often he or she tries and fails, you will still be there as a parent, as a coach, as a mentor, as an aunt, as an uncle, whatever your role is in that child's life at that particular time. Provide words of unconditional love. Now, when you teach kids to do things, show and help them at first, right? And then let them do what they can, even if they make mistakes, right? The thing here is that you want to allow your child to feel proud, because when you give a child a chance to learn, try, and ultimately master the process, he or she will feel extraordinarily proud, right? So always trying to make challenges a little hard, not too easy, right? Don't make it too easy, not too hard, just a right balance, okay? Mistake number 8, not giving the child choices. Please, parents, please, mentors, please, athletic coaches, give children choices. Of course, you want to give kids choices within a reasonable set of options, right? That you would have pre-selected. But if you do that, you are making children empowered. They feel empowered, right? So this is very important. The idea here is to open the array of options and let kids make their own choices. When they make their own age-appropriate choices, once again, they feel more powerful, right? Because the idea here is that they feel proud, powerful, because they feel, oh, I made this choice. I chose this for me. So they are able to have control over their bodies and take responsibilities for their choices. For instance, when it comes to clothing, for instance, right? Clothing, or anything about clothing, yeah, shoes, pants, shirts, whatever. This is a great area where specialists say parents and adults in general should empower children, allowing them to choose what they like, right? And this is very important. And whenever they are able to choose something that is a great choice, please compliment them, right? So you can say something like, how'd you do that? Ask questions, right? When you see them do something hard, say, how did you manage that? How can you do it again? So these things spark motivation, but it also spark in themselves a sense of pride that their parents, an adult, is taking interest in what they're doing. And this is fantastic. We'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. I'm still here talking about how we can better educate, how we can better raise our children. And I want to talk to you now about mistake number 9. Again, this is a very subtle mistake, but it is so important. But before I do that, I want to give a shout out to Reese Cook in Rainier, Virginia, Lucy Ball in Powhatan, Virginia, and Ruben Shaw in Natural Bridge, Virginia. I love Natural Bridge. I was there a couple of years ago. Fantastic city. People are great. People are very kind and very, very honest. Great community. Great state of Virginia. Thank you so much for supporting us. Now, mistake number 9, not encouraging the child to volunteer. Now, this is very important because parents sometimes want to shield their children from outside commitments, but this is not good because you want to let kids help and give, right? Self-esteem grows when children get to see that what they do matters to others, right? Kids can certainly help at home. That's fine, but they have to do more. They can do a service project at school. They can do a favor for a sibling, right? And helping in general and kind act builds self-esteem and self-confidence and other good feelings. So again, we want to emphasize the positive reinforcement, right? So you want to focus on strength when it comes to encouraging the child to volunteer, right? You want to pay attention to what the kid does well and what he or she enjoys, right? So you want to make sure your child has chances to develop those strengths, right? And by being able to develop those strengths, he or she can parlay those skills into volunteering activities, into philanthropic activities. Imagine how good it is for children, for a child rather, to get involved in charitable activities at a very young age. That's great. Again, of course, here everything has to be age appropriate, right, folks? Age appropriate. This is very important. And when the child is trying to develop their strengths, or they're trying to get into volunteering at a very young age, always be there and help. Offer help. Like, ask questions. How can I help? When a child gets really stuck, don't be afraid to offer your support. Let him or her know that the offer to help is on the table, so that he or she doesn't feel compelled to accept that offer. It's optional. All right? And mistake number 10. Not being a good role model. When you put your effort into everyday tasks like, making a meal, washing the car, cleaning up the dishes, you are setting a very good example, actually. Because your kid learns to put effort into doing homework, cleaning up toys, or making the bed. If he or she sees you doing something similar, of course, at your age, you probably are not doing homework, but you are doing something else that shows consistency, that shows commitment, that shows engagement. And children pick up those beautiful traits from the parents, or from the mentors, from their coaches, from their aunts, their uncles, whatever it is, from grown-ups, right? So you want to be a good role model to your child. So another subtle, unintentional stuff that we do that could crush a child's self-esteem is when basically we don't behave the way we want the child to behave, right? So if you tell your child to clean up the dishes, but you yourself never clean it up, I mean, if you don't have a dishwasher, you can still clean them up manually, right? You want to be able to do those things. So modeling the right attitude counts too. So when you do tasks cheerfully, or at least without grumbling or complaining, you teach your kid to do the same. So when you avoid rushing through chores and take pride in a job well done, you teach your child to do that too. Again, so remember that children learn by watching. They learn more by watching than by listening to you. So whatever you say, if you can't, put that into practice, they will not going to follow you. And if the child is discouraged, again, as a role model, you can say something like, I know it's hard, but I've seen you do it before, right? This can seem overwhelming, but give him or her evidence of when he or she has been successful before, right? So this will instill the confidence that he or she can do it again. Because if she has done it before, she can do it again, right? So this is what it means to be a good role model for your child. All right. Now, and listen, at the end of the day, don't lose sleep over it. I'm not telling you to be a perfect role model. I'm just saying I'm asking you to be a good role model. Do as well as you can, right? Don't think about you have to, something happens, if you don't perform well as a parent, this will hurt your kid's self-esteem. It might to a certain extent, but think of it more as a golden opportunity to build yourself as a person, as a parent, as a grown-up, and help your child raise his or her self-esteem. All right? I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. We're still talking about a wonderful, a great topic here. And this is the the 10 things adults unintentionally do that crush a child's self-esteem for good. Now, let me just quickly give you, we are nearly at the end. We still have a few minutes to cover here. Let me just quickly remind viewers of the context of today's conversation, because it's really important. When we have this kind of show, we regularly bring back the context of the conversation so people know what we're talking about. Now, simply praising a child can actually do more harm than good. To build self-esteem in a child and turn him or her into a confident and productive adult, there are various things we grown-ups can do. However, sometimes adults do quite the opposite of what they are supposed to do. Whether you are a parent, teacher, mentor, or sports coach, you can say or do subtle or explicit things to help build a kid's positive self-image. Children with self-esteem feel liked and accepted, appreciated, confident, proud of what they can do, think good things about themselves, and most importantly, believe in themselves. In contrast, children with low self-esteem are self-critical and hard on themselves, feel they're not as good as other kids, think of the times they fail rather than when they succeed, lack confidence and doubt they can do things well. In this show, we have revealed 10 things adults do unintentionally that crush a child's self-esteem for good. We have talked about little things, overlooked behaviors, benign words said here and there, long forgotten trivial jokes that the targeted child has never put into oblivion. Things we consider harmless but that are very harmful to children. Remember that as grown-ups, a positive sense of self is one of the greatest gifts we can give a child, whether he or she is our own or not. Through the 10 scenarios indicated in this program, we aim to provide viewers and listeners with simple ways to boost a child's self-esteem and to know the do's and don'ts for raising a confident child. Now, here are the top 10 things adults unintentionally do that crush a child's self-esteem for good. Not assigning age-appropriate household chores, comparing children among themselves, belittling kids in a joking or matter-of-factly way, not spending one-on-one time with children, complimenting the child excessively, pushing the child to seek perfection. So pushing the child to seek perfection, doing everything for the child, not giving the child choices, not encouraging the child to volunteer, not being a good role model. So those are the top 10 things. Now, we want to give a shout out to Roland McKinney in Albany, Vermont, Janae Bernard in Arlington, Vermont, Robert Fitzgerald in Barnett, Vermont. Now, this is the call to action, and I have a great tip for you folks. You want to stick till the end because we have a good pro tip for you. Now, today's call to action is very important. In every show we give a call to action. We try to allow our viewers and we want to give them the opportunity to think through the show's topic. And we all know the popular quote that says information is power. And some people say that even a little child knows. This saying may be powerful, but nowadays it has become a cliche. For me, information is certainly power, but action is omnipotence, all-powerfulness, supremacy. Doing things is what moves the world. Doing things is why you are currently where you are. And doing things will be the number one reason why you will reach the destination you want to reach. Act today and start moving your life in the right direction. To get you started, here are a few things I recommend you do. Tell your child he or she makes you proud. Tell him or her you will always provide unconditional love. This is important, folks. Challenge your child with things they think. Challenge your child with things he or she thinks are beyond reach, even if it sounds a little crazy, right? Because your child might surprise you and himself or herself. Start the conversation about growing, changing, and taking risks, right? With each challenge and accomplishment, the sense of self-esteem will grow. And things like, repeat after me, I can do it. This type of positive affirmation are powerful because these things do a fantastic job in the brain. They rewire the brain. So when you teach your child, or when you teach a child to use positive affirmation mantras from an early age, he or she will reap the benefits as he or she grows. All right. So this is very important. And I will be right back right after this, and I will give you the pro tip. Don't go anywhere. Here is today's pro tip. Make clear that your love is really, really, really unconditional and mean it. So you want to let your child or somebody else's child know that you love him or her, even in failures, right? Even if he or she fails or makes bad decision. It's not about performance only. It's more about the effort. It's not about the result. It's about the effort. The second thing you want to make sure is that make sure your child's goals are within reach at a level appropriate for his or her ability. All right? Thank you, folks. Have a great time and stay marvelous.